Okay, well, thank you. First, I should thank NITSE for funding this project. So it's a 4-year project. I've been working on this. This is the first time I kind of put everything together, so I'm kind of excited about this. Since this is not an academic conference, I'm leaving out all the theory and all the literature. So, and I'm basically telling stories and focusing kind of on outcomes and themes that emerge from the literature. So I think an urban sustainability ethos is transforming cities, okay, with new investments in public transit, housing density, and creating walkable and bike-oriented neighborhoods. I think that's what kind of has drawn a lot of us to this conference. But these changes comes with risks, as transportation investments in low-income neighborhoods create more lucrative spaces that higher income residents want to move into and increase the risks of displacement due to gentrification. Okay, that's like the big, I guess the big issue now for me is that, you know, you've seen a lot of new investment in these communities, and historically that hasn't been the case, right? Historically, these communities have kind of, in my opinion, have purposely been kind of disinvested, or in terms of like transportation justice issues, you know, a lot of transportation projects like freeways have purposely destroyed these neighborhoods. So now you're building these, you know, very nice and kind of lucrative and you know, transit-oriented development projects in these neighborhoods, and if they're just leading to more displacement, it seems like that's, you know, it's an ethical question for me that all planners have to kind of deal with. So yeah, the basic normative question that I ask planners in this project is, if planners are trying to improve public transportation access and encourage economic development and housing density in low-income neighborhoods to actually benefit current residents, then how do we mitigate for gentrification risk, right? Because if you're just investing in these neighborhoods and not considering the local residents, then that's, you know, then that's one story. But if you actually, you know, have the intentions of benefiting the residents of these neighborhoods, then you have to consider these displacement issues. The purpose of the research was to help urban planners and transportation policymakers mitigate potential gentrification in low-income Latino neighborhoods from their TOD investments. And I guess I did lie. I do have one literature kind of to cite. So this is a new book that was just published by Karen Chappell. She's a professor at UC Berkeley. Her book is called Planning and Sustainable Cities and Regions. And here she underscores the importance of mitigating for neighborhood turnover, especially what she calls transit-rich low-income communities, okay? So she's like a quantitative person, so she basically did this study where she looked at the neighborhoods that has seen a lot of gentrification in the Bay Area, and one of her key findings is that these neighborhoods, you know, are kind of low-income areas that are very rich in transit services. Okay? So this is a quote from her. She states that understanding how these processes of public investment in low-income neighborhoods unfold, as well as organizing proactive community responses, is critical if we want to take advantage of rare opportunities for more equitable development. So she's basically saying that, you know, we need to understand, you know, the few cases where the communities have actually been able to take advantage of these investments, so that we can learn from them. And I think that's what I've done. So I'll get into 4 cases. The first case will be MacArthur Park, which is in Los Angeles. I know a lot about MacArthur Park because I grew up there. I wrote my dissertation about it. I wrote a book about it. So I know quite a lot of it. The other one is Fruitvale. Okay, so Fruitvale is seen as like the poster child for TOD and low-income communities. Okay. The third one is Pico Heights, which is in East Los Angeles. Okay, this is a community that historically has been pretty much, well, it's been cut up by freeways. And the last one is Logan Heights, okay, which is in San Diego, which is a very important Chicano community. Okay, so MacArthur Park, and I could talk about an hour on each of these cases, so I'm going to make this quick, okay? I'll focus on maybe 2 things on each of these cases. So the initial plan for the TOD here was a very top-down kind of plan, okay? It didn't take any community concerns into it. But that was pretty much stopped by the community, okay? Especially by Gloria Molina, who was used to be the city councilwoman there, and then she became the supervisor. She had a lot of power in the MTA board. So she along with community residents and organizations, kind of put a stop to the MTA's plans. And that's the theme that emerges in all of these case studies, okay? The planners are trying to go into these communities and try to do their planning that they do, and there's always some sort of community backlash against that. Okay? The community-based organizations played a critical role in advocating for affordable housing in this case. So they worked with all the city council members. This was actually about a 15-year process. Okay, so they worked with FAS, and they kind of pressured the planners to provide more affordable housing in the area. The outcome of this was 90 affordable housing units. They have a second phase where they're going to build another 90 affordable housing units, about 15,000 square feet of local retail, links to a business improvement district, improvement of public spaces, and also links to bus rapid transit. The former HUD secretary, I forget his name, but he actually tried to showcase this project too as being like one of the kind of key TOD projects that HUD sees as benefiting a low-income neighborhood. A lot of the community-based organizations here were actually the ones that were pressuring the local planners to do the right thing, such as Carecen, which is an immigrant and refugee rights organization. They were working on formalizing street vendors around the site. The Salvadoranians organizations were organizing cultural festivals around the site. They built the Plaza Romero, which I'll talk about in a little while. There were some housing action organizations that were working on anti-gentrification campaigns. And this is Mama's Hot Tamales, which was a kind of a micro-enterprise program that tried to also help formalize the street vendors. Okay, so one of the key lessons here is that, these community-based organizations were actually the ones that were really pushing for a lot of the bottom-up revitalization. I think the other key thing about MacArthur Park is that it serves as a very strong kind of place for Latino placemaking, okay, and having Latino placemaking serve as an anchor that maintains the vibrancy of the community. Here, this is one side of the park. This is supposed to be a meadow. Okay, obviously it doesn't look like a meadow, but officially on the books it's a meadow. The historic preservation is really pushed for that because this is supposed to be a very passive park. But the Latinos use it in a very active way. This is a soccer field that the city was able to formalize as soccer leagues. It used to be just for pickup kind of soccer games and so forth. So you get a lot of these types of examples. This is the new plaza just across the street from the TOD. Okay, this plaza is for Oscar Romero, who's the Archbishop of El Salvador, who was killed during the Civil War. This was a 5-year effort as well by community-based organizations, Salvadoranian community-based organizations to build a statue for him there. It's a very active kind of space. The other statue in the community is a statue of General MacArthur. So this is an example of like the type of placemaking that's happening. Okay, so this is Oakland now. A lot of you are probably familiar with the Fruitvale Transit Village. That also came to be as kind of a resistance effort from the community as well. So BART's initial plan was to build a station that was going to pretty much cut International Boulevard, which is like the vibrant retail sector of the neighborhood, to the BART station. Okay, they were going to place the parking lot right in between both of them. And the community opposed it, and they were going to shut down the project, but then the Spanish Unity Council, which is an organization that has been around since the 1960s, took the lead in organizing the project, and they actually went ahead and built the transit-oriented development. This took 11 years as well to build. It was a combination of gaining community input and participation, collaboration with local officials. I interviewed about 100 people for all of these, in total, for all of these case studies. Each interview lasted about an hour. The one that lasted the longest was one in San Diego that lasted 6 hours. So I'm kind of rushing through a lot of information, but the key person here was Arabella Martinez. She was a Secretary of Human Services for Jimmy Carter, so she had a lot of connections at the federal level, but she also had connections at the local level, and she was the head of the Unity Council, so she had built a lot of social capital and a lot of trust in the community, okay? And another theme that has emerged from this research is the role that women have played, in all of these projects. In all of these projects, it's actually been women that have been pushing for the equity outcomes in these neighborhoods, which is something that I really want to look into further. But anyways, Arabella Martinez had a lot of a lot of connections. She was able to get a lot of the funding for this. The funding was pretty complicated. She had federal funds, state funds, local funds, private foundation funds to build the village. Phase 1 was completed in 2004. It consists of 50 mixed income residents, 40,000 square feet of retail. The retail is difficult. The retail has always been difficult in all of these projects, but they've kind of made it work at this point. 75,000 square feet of community services. This is what makes this TLD project different than a lot of other ones. They provided a lot of community services into the project. So here you'll see they also build refurbished kind of a public market as well. They had they worked with the city to establish a public library, the Cesar Chavez Library. They used a lot of the funding actually from the money that the city guaranteed for the library to get more funds. So they were pretty clever in terms of that. This is the Head Start program. Okay, so it's a really nice facility for daycare. This is the bike station as well. So they kind of put everything into this. Okay, they put actually, let me see. I forgot to mention the anchor of this whole thing, which is a large community health clinic. Okay, so this is La Clínica Community Health Center. So they had a health clinic, they had a Head Start program, they have a senior center facility, a charter school that whose mission is to get students into college. They have the public library, and then their next phase is about 250 mixed income apartments as well. One thing that people don't really haven't heard too many people talk about is the impact that the TLD has had in terms of revitalizing International Street. So International Street had some vacancies before this. Some of the business owners there actually were concerned over gentrification issues. So the Spanish Unity Council really did a lot of outreach to kind of make them be aware that this was happening, that they weren't necessarily going to compete with them. And they actually started a business improvement district. They hired a specific person, Spanish-speaking person to work with them and to build a lot of trust with the local merchants. And it's really kind of helped revitalize International Street. What has done this, I think what has contributed to this is this paseo that they built. So they built a passage from the BAR station to International Street, okay? And so you can see here, this is looking from the BAR station directly to the cathedral, okay? So there's a strong connection now. And remember, initially the plan was to build a big parking structure right where that paseo was supposed to be. Okay, so Boyle Heights. Let's just check real quick. So Boyle Heights is a community, like I said, that was cut off by freeways. You see it's very close to downtown LA. It has five freeways, mostly Latino low-income community. So the Pico Heights station was built there. It was actually built as kind of the part of a larger Hope 6 project, okay? So Boyle Heights had the highest concentration of low-income housing east of the Mississippi River, okay? So 1,200 basically what were projects, okay? I can't get into too much of the details of that, but anyways, the Hope 6 project came in. There's a lot of displacement associated with this. 230 families were displaced. 42 were allowed to come back in. The rest got Section 8 vouchers. So the controversy is that, they upgraded the neighborhood. So they even provided some market-based housing. I think there's about 40 market-based housing. Only 2 residents were able to kind of come in through there. But the residents that were able to move in, they were also low income. Okay, they might necessarily not be from that neighborhood, but they were low income, so they get certain amenities that you can see here, and some public spaces. Okay, but that one's a bit controversial. The other one along the gold line is Mariachi Plaza. Okay, so Mariachi Plaza, there you have the East LA Community Corporation is investing a lot in affordable housing. Okay, so a lot of these MTA, the transportation planners now are linked up with affordable housing organizations, and then they do the affordable housing. One of the critiques I have of that is how they calculate affordable housing. So the way MTA calculates affordable housing is 30 to 60% of the area median income. Okay, but they use the LA County numbers, which are about 81,000 for a family of 4. Okay, and because of kind of federal fair housing acts, you can't like give preferential treatment for people that already live in these neighborhoods to go into this affordable housing. So it's kind of a controversial thing where you're providing all this affordable housing, but are you really catering to the lowest income bracket of the population? And are you providing opportunities for the residents that are currently there? So that one is still kind of a big question mark in terms of whether it's really helped the community or not. I think it kind of depends on where you stand. The community has done some backlash against MTA's projects. They wanted to construct a large kind of medical facility in the area and get rid of some of these murals and so forth, so the community kind of fought that. There's also this interesting thing happening where you're getting more middle-income Latinos moving into the neighborhood. Some people see that as a good thing because they're bringing in more businesses, kind of more activities and so forth. But at the same time, that's potentially leading to some of the gentrification in the community as well. But I took this picture at one of the festivals in the area. I haven't had a chance to talk to the local businesses, just a few, but this is that's something I want to do kind of in the future is try to figure out, okay, what more about this that they call gentrification, which is Latino on Latino kind of gentrification. Okay, and our last case study is Barrio Logan. Barrio Logan is a symbol of resistance and cultural placemaking for Chicanos in the Southwest. Hence, it's a very important space. The way it was started, it was actually a planning outcome, I think. They constructed Interstate 5, so they cut the community into 2. Then they constructed the Coronado Bridge, so they cut the community into 4. Then they were going to construct a sheriff subways, a sheriff, I think, parking facility or something in the bottom of the park. So the community finally fought back. They took over the land, actually, and they made it their own. Okay, so they planted, they painted a lot of political murals, and it's just a very important space. So when I heard there was a TOD being, in the neighborhood, I thought, well, this is really fascinating because, I'm thinking, okay, this is like a way. I'm sure that the developers are going to have to incorporate the voice of the community because there's just so many activists in the community. So they built the Mercado Barrio TOD, okay, and actually this whole neighborhood has been transformed. Okay, it's they've built 2 TODs in the community. This one has been linked to a supermarket, which most of the community members actually really kind of wanted. Okay, it's a Latino kind of themed supermarket. And this was a food desert, so it was actually, I see it as a very good thing. So new investments, a lot of affordable, all the units were affordable housing. Initially, they were supposed to be market based. The community kind of pushed back, made them all kind of affordable. The supermarket, the plaza, local retail, a new community college is kind of tied into all this. It's the new community college, the Cesar Chavez Community College, is right next to the trolley station, and a new Logan Gateway sign, which I don't have pictures of, which I need to get. The point here is that there are basically 3 organizations in this neighborhood that control the neighborhood. Okay, the Chicano Park Steering Committee, the Environmental Health Coalition, and Barrio Station, and they have a lot of power to basically tell the planners what to do. And I think that was a good thing because I think they've actually been able to kind of figure out how to build a TOD there, how to incorporate some of the cultural elements and the public space features of it, but still be kind of community oriented, community focused. There are conflicts that have emerged. So 3 conflicts. There's one conflict deals with the Aztec dancers that have been in the area for 40 years. So now the new residents are complaining about the noise. So that's something that they're working on. Also, the whole the artists. It's a very important community for artists. Okay, the Chicano artists. But that is also kind of bringing in, outside residents, and potentially kind of leading to some gentrification and so forth. So this was the Barrio Logan Arts Crawl. Okay, so I had a chance to hang out there a few days, and it was a lot of fun. So in conclusion, I'll just end with this. After doing research for 4 years and studying 4 neighborhoods, I believe it is possible to organize proactive community responses that make TOD in low-income Latino neighborhoods work. However, the process and the context within a neighborhood shapes how equitable outcomes are reached. Okay, so There are three things I would suggest. One is focus on the endogenous forms of capital in the neighborhood, build on those social, political, economic, and cultural forms of capital, and emphasize public participation processes that actually have an impact on how TOD projects are being implemented. So in Barrio Logan, the community actually have power, okay? They have power to reshape the project, so I think that makes a big difference. And since you're practitioners, I thought I'd give you some strategies and tools for mitigating gentrification. So build affordable housing, but that's, to me, it's more and more becoming a question mark, because I think the devil is in the details when it comes to affordable housing and like what income groups you're really targeting and so forth. Support Latino culturally relevant public spaces, which happen in all of these case studies. Invest in community-based public arts, collaborate with activists in the neighborhoods to make these TODs more community-oriented. I think that's really key. Support a diverse local small business base, and engage in authentic public participation. So basically give community members some power. Okay, thank you.